am Brandon Sewell. I am the owner of Seal Pro Painting in Central Florida and the host of the Off the Ladder podcast. We exist to help home service business owners learn so that they can lead well and ultimately live life off of the ladder. I'm excited about today's guest. I have Sebastian here. He is the Senior Franchise Relationships Director at NiceJob. He is dedicating himself to empowering franchise brands through the cutting edge reputation marketing software at NiceJob. With 20 years of extensive experience in film production, he has worked for renowned companies such as Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Studios, and Disney. In production, he served as an assistant director, and in post production, he worked as an editor and projectionist. Throughout his years in the film industry, he gained insights into marketing and sales, gradually making his way into the corporate world. Over time, he became more involved in business and eventually owned his own company, I Love Coffee, operating in Canada. The company shipped products to North America and abroad. Sebastian transitioned into the tech world where he currently works in the franchise sector. It is here that he learned the intricacies of the franchise system and how technology, especially with the use of Google reviews, can help franchise brands build their online reputation, enabling them to sell more locations and grow into an enterprise. He also has a blog that you can check out for more insights. I'll leave that link in the show notes so you can click on that. And additionally, he offers virtual keynotes for events and engages in podcast interviews. He believes in educating franchise brands on consumer habit trends and emphasizes how Google reviews play a crucial role in understanding that a robust online reputation is paramount for the success of any franchise in today's interconnected world. That is quite the introduction, Sebastian. Welcome to the Off the Ladder podcast.
That is quite the introduction. Thank you so much, Brandon, for having me here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is Nice Job has been such an amazing tool for me and my business as a home service business owner. And as I mentioned, my goal is to help other home service business owners who are wanting to grow their business and get out of the field have the tools to be able to do that. And, you know, one thing that I know that is key for that is marketing your business well, getting enough business coming in the door so that you can keep your teams busy, be able to keep everything moving. And obviously, we know how key Google and reviews is for home service business owners. I mean, it's incredible how valuable it is to have a good Google My Business profile with a lot of reviews. So I'm excited to have you on here today and really dive into, you know, all of those things and how important that is and how Nice Job helps serve our industry. So is there anything else that you'd like to add to that introduction?
Yeah, I know that you summarized it very well. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some new information that we found and that's happening in the market as we speak. So I'm really excited about the conversation.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your transition from working in like that film production industry into tech. And what is like exciting to you about helping home service business owners and introducing them to Nice Job and what you guys have to offer?
hmm Yeah, I get that question asked all the time, actually, because how do you go from working in the film production to doing sales and talking about marketing? How'd that happen?
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I actually started as an assistant director on set. But what happens in the film industry is that over time, over the years, you slowly start to climb up into the corporate side of things because now
Hmm.
you're looking at budgets, you're talking to producers, and that's how I got my feet wet with the corporate side of things. And I started to kind
Hmm.
of like it. You know, it's very interesting because now you have a bird's eye view of how the machine works. And then eventually I got into the corporate side of the studios, and I did less of the creativity side. Eventually, over the years, I started to jump into sales, into marketing, and with the growth of Instagram, TikTok, it kind of like everything converged. You know,
Mm-hmm.
videos, business, marketing, everything just became one. And eventually, there was a friend of mine that was working at NiceJob, and she said, "Hey, there's this position here, and you'd be great for it." So I looked into it, and I have no experience with the franchise space, but I said, you know what? I'll check it, see what this is about. And in the end, it ended up being a blessing because I ended up falling in love with this sector. I'm constantly learning, and it has to do with marketing. And marketing, as we know in today's digital space, it's a huge component to owning a business. So I can say from experience as a former business owner that there's a lot of opportunity out there if you use the right tool. So everything just seemed to converge and fit. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me this, like, what would you say that there is an emphasis, because we're talking about getting reviews, right, and using that as a way to market your business. Do you believe that there is an emphasis on a particular platform that you get reviews from? Like my first instinct is to say like it's all about Google and Google is king. Do you from like your standpoint, and from like maybe market research that you guys have done, do you find that that is the truth, or is there like one that's more important, or is it just different?
That's a very good question. So there's a lot of review platforms out there, and depending on the industry that you're in, whether it's in the food industry, a home service industry, there's different types of platforms to cater to those services. But we are noticing that right now, and I think we can all agree in this, is that Google is becoming king. It's
Yeah.
been around for what now? 2007 was when the
Hmm.
Google reviews system was launched, and it actually took every type of industry. So right now, the main review platform is Google, and second, believe it or not, is Facebook. So
Okay.
Facebook is another really good platform for promoting your reviews.
Sure. And that's kind of like what I would have expected. I usually, when I'm thinking about these kind of things, I try to like step back and like take myself out of the owner seat, and I try to put myself in the consumer seat, right? And say, okay, if I'm a consumer, what is my perspective? And I think to myself like, if I'm going anywhere to do anything, where is the first place I'm going? It's Google, right? If I'm going to look for a fun activity for my family on the weekend, if I'm looking up restaurants of like where to eat, and or if I anything, you name it, like Google is where I'm going to look for that information. And then secondly, I'm looking then at reviews, and it's like those reviews are telling me a story of like where am I going to choose to go based on this company's online reputation. And so I do think that Google is king right now. Who knows? That could change as technology develops, and maybe new companies enter into the market. But right now, yeah, for sure, Google is just it's where it's at. And so I think that's why it's so important for home service business owners to hear this. And Facebook, it's like, to me, I think of it like modern day like door knocking, right? It's like your community online, and people are like, exchanging like business and things, and it's on this online community. And so I think like the community groups that are on Facebook are so valuable, and getting recommendations and referrals there and exposing your company on Facebook is just highly valuable. So yeah, I mean, I think that's incredibly insightful. Can you help a home service business owner who's considering using a technology like NiceJob, understand the value of it, and maybe even share. Because I know I was using a different platform, and I was like really nervous to like make the jump to NiceJob. But I actually sat in a Jobber Summit, had a like a breakout session with NiceJob last year for Jobber Summit, and some of the people who were in that like breakout session were sharing some like incredibly insightful information just about like the science side of like getting reviews and the process of it. And I thought it was really intriguing, like how you guys really dive into the technical side of like the data side of it, like that most people don't leave a review until the fourth interaction, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like,
Mhm.
can you just dive into some of that? Like most people may not be thinking about these things, but could you just go into like some of the reasons why a software like this is so significant and kind of from the data aspect?
Yeah, and that's what makes a nice job so successful is the research and the data to back up why nice job is so successful. So to give you some context, nice job has been around for many years, and the data they've collected over the years has positioned them to be very strong when it comes to review collection or aggregation. So our system, the way it works, and this is why we're different with other CRMs or software, is that we have four triggers. And basically, in the home service industry, when you do a job, basically we can connect a nice job with a CRM. So in your case, when you're finished with a client, you finish the job, they're in a good mood, you invoice them, and at that moment, the CRM triggers a reminder or an ask, right? So the client will get a text message saying, "Hey, thank you so much, Sebastian, for for hiring us or whatnot. Would you be able to write a review?" So we have the verbiage already prepared for you, and basically, if the person forgets or they're busy, Nice Job will trigger another reminder in the form of an email. And this campaign lasts for 2 weeks, and it's so subtle that it doesn't make you feel like you're harassing your client for a review. It's just
Right.
simply people are busy, right? It happens to me. Sometimes I get a review ask, but I'm having dinner or I'm busy at work. And
Right.
that's where it stops, right? And then I forget. But Nice Job has a system that basically sends it at the right time when the system can auto detect that you're on your phone. So if you do a really good job, and that's what we call the foundation, if you do a really good job psychologically, your client feels like they owe you a review. So
Hmm.
by asking them a review, they'll be more inclined to say, you know what, they did a great job. I want to write something positive about them. So we find that 98% of our reviews come through this mythology. And we have clients that when they came to us, they had maybe 17 reviews. And then after getting Nice Job, within the first month, they got like 60. So
Hmm.
the good thing about Nice Job too is that it's automated. So
Right.
the benefits of having the software is that you can operate your business or be with your family while Nice Job in the background does the job for you.
Yeah, that's so good. I think of my own personal story. Like I said, I used a different software before. I won't mention their name, but it was an awful experience. I have two locations for my business, and I was really trying to get this other location in a different city off the ground. And I had it for 3 years. This location, the one that I'm sitting in right now, and I was using this other software to try and get reviews. And in 3 years, I had only gotten 10 reviews at this location. And I was like, okay, so I did Summit. I heard about Nice Job at Summit last year, Jobber Summit. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the jump. I'm just gonna get rid of this one. It's not working. I'm gonna give Nice Job a try. And it was integrated with Jobber. So I was like, it's gotta be better. As soon as I integrated it, it was like my reviews just skyrocketed. Now, you mentioned, you might have a company who gets 60 in the first month. Now, those are probably companies that are doing like more one-off jobs, like let's say, window cleaning. They're doing multiple jobs a day. They have a lot more opportunity to get reviews. With us doing paint jobs, we're typically on a job, for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we don't service as many customers. So we don't have as many opportunities, but still, just from so I've been with NiceJob for a year now. March of last year is when I started. By December, I had like 57 reviews. So just in a few months, I had grown from only having 10 reviews in 3 years to a like 8 month span of time getting 47 47 reviews. So it was just phenomenal. I mean, it's really working amazing for us and for my business. So um
That's awesome.
let's yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into this question. The Obviously, integrating this is like part of it, but I think there's still some challenges that home service business owners might face with getting reviews. Like for us, we have like I train my lead painters when they close out a job to talk about our like review process. um could you jump into that, like maybe jump into like how important it is to ask, how important it is, um because I think that excuse me, even in that breakout session that I did, they went into like talking about how much different it is for like someone psychologically, like when they have a bad experience versus a good experience, and their inclinations to like leave reviews. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, that's a very good question, especially when you ask for a review, right? We can say that if you do a really bad job, you're not going to ask for a review because you don't want that, on your Google My Business. But if you do a good job, of course, you're going to ask. We find this a lot with a lot of home business personnel, right? Because sometimes the employee forgets, right? Sometimes they finish the job, they just want to go home, and they forgot to ask for a review, right? So there's an inclination to that. Hence why nice job. The idea is to provide the heavy lifting for the crew. So when they finish a job and the invoice is sent, the CRM will trigger the review ask. But let's say a business doesn't have a CRM. Let's just pretend they're using Excel, right? Or they're using a paper.
Sure.
You can still use NiceJob, and you can import the person's contact information, and all you
Hmm.
need is just their telephone number and email. And you can manually do it through a CSV file that we have, and you
Hmm.
just upload it on NiceJob, and NiceJob will trigger out the reminders. So if companies don't have CRMs, that's okay. We can still work with you, but if you do have our CRM, it'll just make the job easier for you. So then you can focus on going to your next job, or focus on another aspect of the business, while the automation does that for you. And hence, it's for triggers, right? If it's done through an employee, chances are he'll just mention, "Can you write a review for me?" And the person's
Hmm.
going to forget, right? So
Yeah.
that's why those gentle reminders are key for getting reviews.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that will probably come up in people's mind while listening to this, as you brought up or like bad experiences or bad reviews, I think some people will say, like, oh, well, I have no way to control, sending a review request to a customer that may have had a bad experience, or maybe we're like on the fence about it, so we don't want them to leave a review. I know that that's another thing that they talked about, is like you don't want to try to avoid the negative feedback, right? So can you talk a little bit about why it's okay to send out a review request to every customer and not like cherry pick which ones you want to send them to, and maybe like how to handle bad reviews?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. That question always makes you feel like you're stepping on cracked shells, right? Because I don't want a bad review for my business, or I don't want
Right.
to even deal with it, right? But when it comes to negative reviews, they're actually a positive thing for your
Sure.
business, but also about your customer service. And let's say that, okay, something happened, maybe a technician broke a lamp, and the owner wrote about it, right? So one of the points that we highlight to clients about this is like, answer the review, right? Don't delete it
Hmm.
or flag it. Showcase your customer service, and this is a way to mitigate those negative reviews. And we see a lot of success with companies that get bad reviews because they just are responsive, but at the same time, that data is crucial because you can also get some insights as to where to improve.
Yeah.
At NiceJob, we have a tab, right? That's a word theme tab. And basically, what it does is it aggregates or looks at all the reviews that are coming in, and it'll find keywords. Let's say 10 reviews come in and they all say the pricing was expensive. Nice Job will grab those words, right? Bad customer service, and it will grab those words. Or the positive ones, great customer service, price is fair. And so there's an insight tab that we have in the system that will aggregate all those keywords, and it'll tell you, hey, you have 50% of bad customer service. So for the company, now they're like, okay, I think we need to provide more training. You know
Hmm.
what? The price is fair. Okay, let's not touch that. Let's leave it the way it is. So there's a lot of keywords that we have within NiceJob that'll help the business look in areas of where to improve. So welcome the negative reviews, right? Don't be afraid of them.
Right.
They're actually a helping tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's tough, because especially when you're a business owner and you've poured so much into growing a company, you care so much about, your business, your employees, your customers, the work that you're doing. It can be very hard to swallow the fact that you might get a negative review for your business, right? And it can be emotionally hard to handle, but like you're saying, you just have to like realize that that's an opportunity. It's not you can turn that into a positive with responding professionally, responding punctually, offering a solution inside of your response. So, instead of just leaving it blank or getting combative or argumentative, you can address that review in such a way where if somebody reads it in the future, let's say a future customer goes on there and they're reading that negative review, they see your response and you're handling that customer politely. You're offering a solution for the problem that they experienced or offering to solve it. Well, that's going to go a really long way for that future customer when they see that. They're going to be like, wow, like, look how professional this person was in dealing with this negative experience. And I think it can actually be a boost of confidence to that prospective buyer. And I know that one of the things that the team at Nice Job mentioned in that session that I was a part of um, was that I guess there's some data that proves that consumers are more likely to actually go with a company that doesn't have a perfect rating. Can you speak to that at all?
Correct. So again, the psychology behind the reviews is very fascinating, right? Because
Sure.
sometimes we look at the stars, but we're so used to in our DNA, it's embedded that if it has 5 stars, it's like, okay, I'm going to buy the product. But let's say you have 400 reviews with 500 stars. It kind of looks questionable, right? Because how can something be so perfect? But when you
Right.
get a metric between 3.5 to 4.5, which is the sweet spot, and you have varied stars throughout your GMB, it creates that like organic trust, So we have nothing. We're not saying don't get 5 stars. Get them. But if you
Right.
have a 4.5, 4, it's less perfect, but it just gives it a little bit more authenticity to your page. So it gives that variety. So when somebody's searching for your product and they see 5, 4.3, 4.4, or 3.5, it just gives your business a little leverage of okay, this is authentic. The reviews aren't spammy. It's not created by a bot, but I want to know why there's this type of rating for this business. So it'll give you more insights as to the business you're going to be doing business with.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And I think it can be encouraging that to, somebody who's listening to this, like this is not just like hypothetical things that Sebastian or myself are mentioning. This is like data driven research that you guys have done, and your team, and other people in your space. That's another reason why I decided to like jump on with Nice Job, is because I was like, they were giving me so much data to like just prove why Nice Job was amazing. And like as a business owner, I understand like data is like it's the facts, right? Like so you can't, your emotions or like how you feel about something can't really dispute like the just the facts of like data. Like this is how this works. This is what the data is telling us. And so I think those who are listening to this, I hope you find some comfort in realizing like this is actually just like the truth of how reviews work, and there is like a psychology to it. There is a way that it works, when your consumers are going and they're seeing these. So I think that's really good information there. um what information would you give to home service business owners on, improving their online reputation? What other things can Nice Job do to help service home service business owners? I know there's some other features that Nice Job has to offer. Can you just jump into like a holistic like view of how home service business owners can use Nice Job for their business?
Yeah, and I think I can divide that question into two segments because it's a really good question. And the first part would be for the home service industry. Uh, we know some companies are different in the sense of a workload. Like you mentioned, you paint a home, and maybe you might do 3 jobs in a month, for example. While maybe there's another company that just cleans gutters and they're doing 17 jobs a day, right? So
Hmm.
some companies, they don't have time to provide marketing to their channels because maybe they're small enough to just maybe have one worker, and so the owner's doing all the work. So Nice Job has this other feature that a lot appreciate, and it's basically the marketing aspect. And what do I mean by that? Well, Nice Job, once it gets the review, it doesn't stop there. It repurposes it. So automatically, once the review comes in, you can, or the system will launch it into your LinkedIn, your
Hmm.
Facebook, right? And these are channels that now you have a testimony or a review saying something nice about your business. So, one, it'll save you or your marketing team from creating additional content. And second, you use those reviews as social proof. And here's the other psychology behind it, right? Back in the day, a lot of businesses in the 1950s, 1960s, you'd go out with a pamphlet and say, I'm the best at selling donuts, right? For example. And that's how marketing worked back then. But over the years, trends started to change. There's a new generation that's coming into the market. And, 60 years later, now you have to have other people speak highly of you to build that trust. You can't say anymore, I sell the best donuts in town. So
Hmm.
when you have other people speaking of you, that social proof works in your benefit because a review, they say that 90% of reviews are considered like a recommendation coming from a family or a friend, right?
Nice.
So you repurpose the review, you put it on your channels, And then there's another feature to add on is the widgets. We have these tools that you can embed into your website. And basically what it does is it grabs all your reviews and you can include them in a testimonial page on your website. And when individuals or prospects go onto your website to look at your products or look at what you're about, when they see those testimonials, they're going to be like, oh, so they have a good reputation, their prices are fair. So nice job. When we say we're a reputation marketing software, that's what we mean. We're
Hmm.
not a business that is in the business of review acquisition. No, we're in review reputation marketing. So once we get the review, then we repurpose it to get you more business.
Yeah, that's so good. And we use a lot of those features. So we have it set up like when a review comes in, it automatically goes out to our Facebook page. It automatically goes to our LinkedIn. We have what you're talking about on our website. So when you pull up sealpropainting.com, you can see all of our reviews that have been aggregated from NiceJob right there for all of our customers to see. And so those are all amazing things that NiceJob does. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's two other things that you guys do, or let me say three that I think. Don't you guys do like referral campaigns as well? And then so I'm going to give you three that you can jump into. Referrals. Can't you send gifts now?
Mhm.
Like, and then I think the other thing is you guys can help design websites. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
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 And
So
could
we
you talk about those
also,
three?
yeah, no, for sure. So we have a referral aspect to Nice Job as well. So now we're speaking on the after we got the review, after we marketed that review. So let's say uh, a client did all that. Now we can enroll them in a referral campaign, which works similar. There's four trigger points. And what it does is you enroll the individual and you say, hey, do you know a family member that could benefit from our services, or do you know somebody that would enjoy this type of work? And what you do is you can also incentivize it. So you can add, and if you do, you get 20% off on your next purchase. And so what
Hmm.
that person will do is they will send out that link to their cousin or a family member or a friend, and they'll get a discount. And that's where that customer driven growth cycle comes in, right?
Hmm.
You go to the job, you get the review, and now after you ask the client for a referral. And then
Hmm.
when you start getting into that cycle, that's when you start seeing that automated revenue come in, right?
Hmm.
So it's a beautiful cycle, very psychological, but it does work. So when you have a lot of those cycles within your system, you basically don't look too much for work because now it's automatic, right?
Right.
It's all within that trust cycle. The other aspect we have, or feature we have, which is awesome, is the gifting tab. And basically, let's say I gave you the review, I gave you a referral. Now, as a business owner, I would like to send a gift to you. So, Nice Job has a system where you send out a link, and your client can browse this company that does ships cookies, popcorn, or other gifts, and they can choose from the gifts what they would like, and the system, the company will ship it to them, and you
Mhm.
just pay it on your end with your credit card. So it's just another way of saying thank you so much for your review, for your referral, and here's another incentive, right? Or a thank you. And the other aspect too is we have convert websites and services. So we do design websites that help companies that are not present online. And our convert websites basically, like they say, they're convert. The idea is to convert those visitors into clients. So we design it for you, and we have a lot of clients or prospects that come looking for this type of service because we know that right now designing websites is so intricate. So our systems can be efficient in getting you more business, but also being present online.
Yeah, that's so good. And, when I think of everything that you're mentioning, it all works together, right? So, all of this is working together to get your business out there, to get you in front of more of your ideal clients, and to ultimately bring you more business. And so, for me, it's like, it's a no-brainer for anyone who's listening to this to use Nice Jobs services and what they have to offer, because it's just so key. Like I feel like it's almost like common sense. Like why wouldn't you use it? But I know some people may need a little bit more coercion to use a software like this. But I think automation is so important. Like when we think about how our culture works and what are the like norms of how we function day to day, automation has become just a part of our everyday lives. And we're used to getting things like the click of a button, getting things quickly. And so we have those resources at the tip of our fingers. So why not, as a home service business owner, um, get that incorporated into your business. Don't let yourself fall behind. The technology that is available to you. I think that we disservice ourselves when we look at the amazing software that NiceJob has to offer, or Jobber, or whatever. There's so many different softwares out there that you can use to run an efficient and great business. And I think we disservice ourselves if we don't use these as tools to, not
Mhm.
just. I think about Nice Job not just as like getting me more reviews, but it's helping serve my employees, it's helping serve my clients, it's helping me, and it does that through creating a better experience, right? It's part of our brand, it's part of who we are. We're innovative, we're efficient, we're driven by tech. We're those things create a better experience with our brand. And so I think if you're listening to this, don't miss out. Like, definitely like get a demo of Nice Job and try it out. You guys offer that. You offer demos. So, what would you say to somebody who's like on the fence about getting something like Nice Job integrated in their business?
Yeah, we basically one of the highlights that we bring to the table, again, data driven. What we're finding out there in the industry is that it's not just about automation, right? It's not just about collecting reviews, but it's rather how am I preparing my business for the next 2 years, right? Because
Hmm.
one can choose not to automate it and do it the long way, which is fine, right? But the reality is that we're seeing a shift in the consumer behaviors. And the reason why is because we're seeing now the Gen Zs in the next 2 years, they'll be the largest consumer demographic in the US alone. And
Hmm.
this demographic is very different when it comes to convincing them. And what do we mean by this? Well, the Gen Zs, statistically, they read between 3 to 7 reviews before making a purchasing decision.
Wow.
And they say that with another case study that was done last year, a business, in order to have another job, it needs a metric of 85 reviews. So if
Wow.
you're a company with 2 reviews, chances are you're not going to do business with them because are they
Yeah.
online? Are they open? Are they closed? But what happens if you go to a business on Google, 450, 700, with a rating of 3.5 to 4.5? So that builds that trust with
Yeah.
businesses. So the Gen Zs, because they're a generation that was raised on technology like YouTube, right?
Hmm.
They go to Google for everything. And
Yep.
so if you're a business that is content with the reviews that you have, that's okay. But the reality is you got to keep acquiring more reviews because somebody else is going to fight for that same space on your SEO for Google, right?
Yeah, that's
So
good.
yeah, and one of the trends for this year is geotagging or location for businesses, right? So on Google Maps, when you look for a business within your target area, you type in mattresses or whatever you're looking for, and the first thing
Hmm.
that pops up is that business in your local area. So um, we're seeing a shift, and we tell businesses get ready because in the next 2 years if you're not on Google or you don't have enough reviews, then the reality is you might not get that business that you used to get.
Yeah, that's so good. I like you brought up two key points that I like to reemphasize is getting consistent reviews, because Google looks at like how you're going to perform on Google is going to be based on like a company who has, let's say, you know 50 reviews, but they haven't had a review in 2 years, is not going to perform as well as the company that has 50 reviews, but they're getting reviews consistently, right? It's like their last review was a week ago. So I think the consistency is important. And then the other thing you talked about is just the how many you have. From just like a consumer standpoint, if I go online and I see a company that has 2 stars, and they're five, like they have 2 5-star reviews, right? So they have a 5-star rating versus a company that has 300, but they have a 4.6. I'm more likely to go to that 4.6 rated company than the 5-star just because they have more reviews, they have more track record, right? More way for me to verify that this is a legitimate business. They're obviously serving a lot of customers, whereas somebody who doesn't have as many, you would just question, well, how many people are they serving? Sure, they might have a
Mhm.
great few uh, reviews, but how legitimate is that? So I think those are really two really great points that you made there. Um, well, as we're coming to the end of this interview, is there any questions that you may have, or anything that you'd like to bring up and talk about as we kind of bring this to a close? Anything that I might have missed out on?
Um, no, I think you covered it all, Brendan, and I think we're headed into an interesting time in marketing, in sales, in consumer behaviors. Uh, like you mentioned, I've been in sales for 20 years,
Hmm.
and everything from 1999 to 2000, I don't apply any of that stuff because it's so outdated. And then even
Hmm.
techniques or technology that was useful 4 years ago is outdated. And I think things are going to be changing so fast in the next 2 years that if we're not prepared, or at least it be insightful, right? If
Yeah.
we always tell potential clients, if you don't go with NiceJob, that's okay. But as a former business owner, I still want you around, right? I want you to be
Right.
successful, but you have to understand that things are changing really fast in the market, especially with the Gen Zs coming into the market. So at least
Mhm.
educate yourself and be prepared, right? Because at the end of the day, we all want to be successful. We want to sell this business to our children one day, or maybe we can expand. Be a one location, and then within 5 years, you have 50 to 100 locations out there, right? So
Right.
at the end of the day, success, everybody deserves it, but just be informed, study trends, look at where the needle is going, and don't stick to what you think works today, because tomorrow, just like a phone, there's going to be a software update, and whatever you were doing yesterday is obsolete. So that's the only advice I would share with anybody.
Yeah, that's so good. And, that's why my mission is to help home service business owners learn, because the reality is like we have to continually be educating ourselves on, how do we market our businesses, in today's culture, and how things are going. It's like you mentioned, it's not going to be the same, and I think you run the risk of falling behind and then becoming obsolete if you don't keep up with like what current trends are. And as much as you might not like the idea of technology and automation and all of these things that we're talking about, it's so crucial for you to have them in your business. And I would say, even to the point that if you don't want to do it yourself, hire someone to do it for you, to get it implemented into your business. So if you don't want to take on the task of implementing these softwares or getting them into your business, well, hire somebody to do that for you, who has that capacity, and can get that your business into that mindset, and that functionality of like using technology. I think it's so important. um Anyway, such a great and insightful time and interview with you, Sebastian. I really appreciate your time. I do want to mention to the listeners that I do have an affiliate link for NiceJob. So I will have that in the show notes. So if you're interested in giving NiceJob a try, and using the services that they have to offer, please go into the show notes, do a free trial, see what it's like, and potentially get it implemented in your business. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It's amazing. And I know so many other business owners who are using NiceJob and are having amazing results. So it definitely works, and it can be a great addition to your business. Well, if there's not anything else that you want to say, Sebastian, I appreciate your time that you've taken to share so much value with my audience. I hope that some people will take action on what they've heard today. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, comment, let me know what your thoughts are, share it with somebody. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave us a review, rate the show. That'll help me out, so that we can get the podcast in front of more home service business owners to help them. And I will see everybody else next time on the next episode of the Off the Ladder podcast.